guys, and today we have here another very awesome deck profile. We have here the BLS Ritual deck. Yes, they got a whole bunch of new support, which is awesome. But something I want to point out right away is this is going to be an interesting deck because it's not cut and paste. Like Necros would cut and paste because like it's not an archetype really. It's chaos. That's what it is. It's just light and dark monsters. And so there's going to be a lot of different builds. You know which one would be the best. I believe there's a Lights Run build. This is just trying to be as pure as possible. Pure chaos type build. And then there will probably be a Shaddoll build. In fact, I want to build a Shaddoll build. And that might be a deck profile for next week I'd try to do. But this is very interesting. Now, the thing that I see that is a weakness of this deck is, and might not actually be a weakness, I might just be playing it a little bit long, is that you kind of want these guys in hand, so that way you can use them for ritual summon. Like you use it, you tribute them, and then build the ritual monster gets a whole bunch of extra effects from these guys. And so that's really awesome. But you also want them in the graveyard, so that way you can banish them, and so that way you can search out this stuff. Because you can search out these guys. And so it's kind of hard when you're like trying to get them in the graveyard and at the same time trying to get them to your hand. But I'm pretty certain the BLS, because this card can also special summon them by banishing this card and Light in the Dark. From the graveyard you can special summon the BLS ritual. So I think the BLS will get its effect. Something I have noticed though that I don't really agree with is apparently the BLS does not get these extra effects. Kind of makes sense because, yeah, that would be broken. But right now he doesn't get the effects. I don't know if that's the official ruling. I wouldn't be surprised if it is. But I assumed at first that he did. So I'm just going to go through. Just remember this is Chaos. There's a whole bunch of Light and Dark monsters. The BLS, the Dark Arm Dragon, and the Chaos Sorcerer. These are our boss monsters of the deck besides the ritual monster. And they do a whole bunch of banishing and just do stuff. And it's really nice that this deck has such good access to this banishing stuff. With Collar Serpent and Weaving Burst with the Baby Dragons, these guys are just good for banishing light and dark. They just work really well. They're for making rank 4s or synchro summoning with, because they get their effect. They send to break with the synchro summon, so you can just search out and then start summoning on a monster. It's like you're synchro summoning with a tuner pretty much. So it's really, really nice. Armageddon Knight, searchable, and can send any dark monsters such as Night of the Even Twilight to the grave. Manju for search power, and Night of the Beginning and Night of the Evening Twilight. These guys are some new cards. A Blackluster Soldier monster summon. This card gains the following effects. Once per turn, you target one monster. Your opponent controls banish it. When this card destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can have this card attack once more in a row. So yeah. That can be really bad, really deadly, because you can get rid of banish one and then attack 2 monsters. So that can be really powerful. So if this card is banished from your graveyard, you can add 1 ritual spell card from your deck to your hand. So that is really nice. You banish him for Collar Serpent, you banish him for one of these guys, and he's good. And then Evening Twilight, you can banish your opponent's monster or banish one random count from your opponent's hand until your opponent's end phase, and then they add it back to their hand. That is really good, because then your opponent doesn't have as many cards. You can just hit something. It isn't all about hitting out the hand trap. It's more than that. It's about hitting whatever you can and making it so that way they can't use it. If they have 2 cards, if they have this Pendulum Scale and you banish one, they can't go for a Pendulum Summon next turn, which can save you. 3 Mathematician to send one of these guys to graveyard. Yuki-Osagi, just a good light monster and great hand trap, along with the 3 Max C, so we can draw into it, along with 2 effect veilers for different hand traps and utility, and is a different level tutor, so that is something to note. Just pretty much really good in the deck. Just pop, negate, and then light and dark. Well, they'll both light, but they're good for noting. They're great with noting. Supreme Blackluster Soldier. This guy can be ritual summoned with Supreme Warrior Ritual. This card destroys opponent on battle and sends it graveyard. Inflict damage to opponent equal to that monster's road track. So it will pretty much always inflict 3000 damage unless you're attacking a defense position monster or your opponent takes no battle damage. And so that is awesome. Your opponent just takes 3000, and then if you have this guy's effect, he can attack again and then inflict another 3000 pretty much. So OT days for days. And I do not run the guy of the Fierce Knight because it doesn't make sense to me. Let me bring up the new guy, the Fierce Knight, because if the ritual monster is destroyed, you can special out this guy. So you can special out any of these pretty much. So with this card, the thing that I don't get is, okay, you can normal summon it, good, without tributing, that's just good. I like that. But its attack becomes 1900, I don't care, still good. If this card is tributed, you can add one BOS monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect to Gallop and Guy that feels not once per turn. What are you going to tribute this card for? The Ritual Summon? Then you'd have to have a level 1. I mean, I do run Effect Veiler, but come on. Like, what are you going to tribute him for? Are you going to start running Majesty's Fiend, Vanity's Fiend in the deck? It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But, it's just like, how are you going to get this effect off the tribute? I mean, it's if this is a searcher and you're going to use it for this card, then that means you have the BOS you probably want to add to hand unless you actually want to add this guy. So it's just like, it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't like it. If it would be better if it's level 1 down to 4, but it's 7, so it doesn't work out as well. So I don't like it. Instant Fusion for the Nodin, aka Monster Reborn 2.0, which I keep rewrote to search out our 6 warriors. Dark Hole, 3 upside for consistency, Foolish Burial, and Supreme Warrior Ritual, which you use Ritual Summon, and as I said, you can manage this card, 1 live monster and 1 dark monster from graveyard, special 1 BLS Ritual monster from your hand, knowing its summoning condition, and it'll use the effect of Supreme Warrior Ritual once per turn. And the thing is though, is that I don't know if you can, if the BLS, if you use the effect to banish this card in Aladdin Dark, I don't know if the Ritual monster will gain the effects of these guys. I don't know, I'm pretty certain it will, but that is that. And this deck is really interesting. It's Chaos, which is really nice, really glad that they're bringing back old cards. It's BLS, he's a fan favorite. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. Because, I mean, again, there are problems with the deck. You want to add these guys to hand, but you want them in graveyards. But then you need to get this card in graveyard so that way you can manage it. And it's really good. I only run 2 because of consistency and just not to have it to be clogging too much. You could run 3. There'd be no problem with running 3. Because sometimes it's like I get an extra one because again you can summon both of them out with just 1 ritual spell card, banishing a light in the dark. So you could put this to 1 even, and it would be okay. But I don't feel it would be too safe to put it at 1. Alright, so for the extra deck we run Nodin. You can summon out level 4 lower, except for these guys because they cannot do special by the way. And its effects negated. So great for XCs, great for synchro summoning, and then for synchro monsters. Remember the tuners being Yukio Sagi and Effect Veiler. Anyway, you summon them out is either normal, summon them for use Nodin. Star Eater, Mistworm, Clear Ring, Moonlit, Black Rose, Armades, just the generics. And the ones that I really like. And then for the XZs, rank 4 is pretty much running the Utopia, the Lightning, and the 2 of the Utopias. Dark Rebellion, 101, Castel, Exciton, and Rhapsody in Berserk. I feel like he'd just be good. You could put him a Cowboy in or some other card. I just feel like he'd be decent to have just in case for like Geometric Manus. Something you can make it so they can't summon Dark Arms or whatever you want. Whatever you want. And do not forget that these guys are for the most part light and darks, except for this guy and this guy. They're all light or dark. Black Rose and Clearing and this one and Nodin. So yeah. The deck is definitely interesting. There's a lot of stuff you can do with it. I've seen some people running Gaia the Polar Knight and Gaia the other one. And I mean, it makes sense. But, nah. I don't like Exchange of Twilight. Like, it kind of works because it adds to hand and sends to grave. But I feel it can clog if you don't have this card to hand. And if you're summoning Armageddon and Mathematician to send them to the graveyard, it doesn't work. So, yeah. Let's not try to promote a problem with the deck. So anyways, this is the deck profile. I think this deck is awesome. Can't wait to see what it is. There will be a Shaddoll deck profile with this, a Shaddoll build next week. The next deck profile is going to be Speedroids, but there is going to be replays and a whole bunch of duels with this deck tomorrow for Death. So you guys should definitely stay tuned for those videos. And yeah, it's really interesting. Maybe Chicken Race would be a good idea in this deck. Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea in this deck. Just huge consistency because like you can just blow out your opponent so well. Like, I mean, you have such good boss monsters and monster removal in this deck. It's just crazy. It's just like you don't have good defense. You don't have good defense at all. If they can get over, like this guy, he isn't that strong. He isn't that hard to get over. 101 Castel, Titan Knight, they all get over him. And so, it's interesting. Really interesting that they're bringing back rituals. I mean, they have the Silva, they have Necros, of course, which did a whole bunch of ritual summoning. And then they have this guy. So going to be looking really interesting. This deck and rituals. Wonder what else they're going to do with it. I mean, I feel like they're trying to turn rituals into the thing where it's 3 cards. It's always 3 cards, 1 monster and like 1 tribute. Except for this deck, that you tribute 2 monsters. So that's 4 cards pretty much. At worst, they could be engraved. And so, and then you just summon out a monster and you pretty much go for game. That's what this deck does, and what the deck wants. Some other cards you could run would be Honest, but this guy's an Earth, so you can't use it on him, which makes sense, because being able to attack twice, inflict damage, and have an Honest is like, no. Because then they take 3,000 plus the damage of whatever the attack of the monster was, assuming it was in attack position. And twice, so that's again 6,000 plus 2x, x being whatever the attack of the monster is, which, unless it was 500, no, unless it was like 800 or something, it would be game. So yeah, so Honest doesn't work in him, makes sense. Honest wouldn't be bad in the deck. You could put Chaos Sorcerer to 2, but then again he could clog. But like, if you get off of Chaos Sorcerer with BLS, but these guys, it's like, boom, in my hand. You get 1 of each, because he would search the ritual monster, he would search the ritual spell, and they're banished. So it's just really good, The deck just works. Other things you could put in would be like Lavelvo Chain. He wouldn't be bad, specifically seeing how Lavelvo Chain. In fact, that honestly he should be in the deck. Screw you. Should be in the deck because like he can send any card, so he can send this card, so it just works. Utility. Because that was one of the things I was thinking is if I could try to make it so I could get this card engraved, it would be really good. So Lavelvo Chain isn't hard, isn't the worst thing in the world. And yeah, just tell me what you guys think of the BLS. Tell me what you guys think of all this new support. They're bringing back old cards, they're bringing back Red Eyes, they're bringing back BLS, they're bringing back Gaia. So yeah, just tell me what you guys think of this deck. And yeah, stay tuned for the duels with this deck. And don't forget there will be Speedroids on Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday hopefully. So stay tuned for that. See you guys later. Bye.